What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. And today, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're talking about what kind of action figures you should be collecting, or better yet, kind of if you're really new, how to find what figures you want, and then also if you're already kind of in it, what figures would best, kind of give you the most enjoyment. And before we get started with the video, I just want to say thank you so much, guys. I've been getting a lot of good um, viewership, likes, and comments on all my videos. I just wanted to say that we're so close to 500 subscribers. If you guys could just take a moment to drop a like, share, and subscribe, that really helps out the channel and me bringing you guys more videos like this. But without further ado, just thank you so much, guys, for everything you do. And then again, kind of here on the Instagram, we already did hit over 500 followers, so slowly creeping up. I'd like to say thank you guys so much again, for all the followings and all the likes and shares and everything on the Instagram as well. But without further ado, kind of going to cover a lot, so let's just jump straight into it. So, I'll put this one over here. The first thing I want to talk about is kind of all the brands, like the main brands that everybody collects, and kind of what are the levels after that, right? Because it's kind of crazy how many people don't collect certain lines just because they don't know about them. And one of the reasons why is like I don't want to say that like the action figure community is like negative or so to speak is, but there is a couple times where I've encountered like gatekeeping where I'll ask a person who's taking photography of a figure, and I'll ask them like, oh, what figure is that? If I don't know what brand it is, or how did you customize it? How did you get this result? Something like that. And they just either don't answer me or they take like weeks to answer me, right? And I mean, to each their own. Some people don't like talking about it, but I personally think that's kind of dumb because it's not really, gaining any benefit for me, and there's really no reason to do it. So I'm here to kind of show everyone, especially if you're a beginner and you're kind of new to the hobby. I think this video will help you out a lot. So I'll start off with the main two, which is McFarlane Toys and Marvel Legends. And I'm just gonna be straight up and say that this figure is mainly for out of box collectors, and mainly people who care about like the verses of sculpt, detail, and articulation. Those are kind of the three things we're going to be talking about. If you're more of an inbox collector, I would say I personally don't collect inbox, so I don't know anything about it. So I really have nothing to say about it, so we won't really be covering it in this video. But anyways, the main two companies or brands of figure that most people collect are Marvel Legends and McFarlane Toys, and it's pretty obvious as to why. They're, I wouldn't say the cheapest. I don't really mean cheapest in quality. I mean so in price. As you can see, they're all very fairly priced. This guy's $18, $10, $25. So it's like really there's no compromise to be made. You can get you know two or three of these really without any issue. If you like them or you don't, you're not losing a whole lot of money, right? Same thing goes for McFarlane Toys. They're kind of that intro and kind of beginner level figure, and I wouldn't even really say there's levels to this, but just for the sake of conversation, we'll say that these are kind of like your intro or like basic level figures. I think that's a better word for it. Mainly due to the fact that they can produce a lot of these figures at very low cost, and compared to some of these other brands that we're going to be talking about here in a second, you can get a lot, right? Like this whole lot, they're each $25. you know there's five in a row, so you're looking at about like 375 right here for this whole lot, which is actually not a lot. That in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot. 375 is probably like three Mayfexes or three Yamaguchi figures. So in comparison, you can get a lot more of these. Same thing with the Marvel Legends, as you can with you know the Mayfex or Amazing Yamaguchi or SH Figuarts, right? So I would say that's kind of the intro. And then in regards to articulation, they're pretty basic, right? Like I think you're gonna be able to get some good posability, especially if we're just gonna hop over here real quick. If you follow a lot of toy photography pages, this is a $35 figure. Yes, it is an SH Figure Arts, but as you can see, if you're creative enough, and if you guys see a creator you like, or if your page is featured on here, let me know and I'll give you credit. But as you can see, toy photography is a really good way to find out if the figure meets your needs or not, because if you're someone who likes to pose your figures and likes to take pictures, obviously you're gonna want a figure that's pretty photogenic and looks really good when you pose it up and stuff. And then here's a case example. This is a $25 Marvel Legends, and these pictures are beautiful. Shout out to this creator. Give him a little follow. Why not? But as you can see, he's making the $25 figure look premium, and that's kind of one of the things, right? But I will say that there is negatives to this. Sometimes you'll see a figure in very good lighting, very good poses, and kind of in a ideal scenario, rather than if it's something you're just gonna pick up off the table and stuff. Like, it actually, funny enough, this is one of those examples. This figure looks amazing, right? Like, it looks beautiful. It's the TK DIY torso kit for the SH Figure Arts Goku. And although I love this thing, I bought two of them. It definitely does not look as good if you're not posing it right. It looks very bad if you're having the arms up and out, like in a kind of a Y shape, or if you're even looking inwards at the bicep. And then also, there's a lot of gappage in it, so you have to kind of play with it, right? So that's kind of one of those things that I would say to kind of look out for when you're using toy photography as means to kind of determine if you want to buy a figure or not, right? But anyway, moving along, that's kind of where I would put McFarlane and Marvel Legends, as they're good enough if you're okay with that and you don't want to drop a lot of money on action figures, and it's just kind of a hobby more than a passion. I would say Marvel Legends and McFarlane Toys are a pretty safe bet, to and not only get started, but also master the craft before you kind of move on to some of the more expensive ones, right? And speaking of those, I'll start with SH Figure Arts, as I believe SH Figure Arts is kind of in the middle, in between domestic and like the higher end import stuff. Although SH Figure Arts is import, and they have some figures that are really, really high end. Like, they have some $100 plus figures that are high end. That's what I would consider high end anyway. They do have really good figures. Like, pretty much every single figure on the screen right now poses, I would say, at least 30% better than all of these figures put together. Like, they just don't have the engineering or the budget that some of these figures have, or the really the range to be able to get some of the more dynamic poses that you can get with these SH Figure Arts. And that's just a fact. That's just, I wouldn't even really say that's up to argument. That's really just, that's how it is. These figures are engineered very different. They're engineered mainly on ball joints and, kind of import level articulation, and they're just better in 9 out of 10 ways, right? And going even further, I would say that SH Figure Arts is like really the only way to go if you're like a hardcore DBZ collector, or even getting into DBZ collecting, or Dragon Ball in general. SH Figure Arts is really the only way that I would go. Like, I'm not even really gonna bother talking about Dragon Stars, as Dragon Stars just does not have the level of detail that these SH Figure Arts cost. And if you're talking about a regular release, they're only $10 more, and I feel like you're getting a completely different and superior figure. So, but I mean, if you're into Dragon Stars, by all means, right? But me personally, I have like one Dragon Stars figure, and that's Super Baby 2, just because SH Figure Arts hasn't made it yet. But anyway, moving along, we got kind of the heavy hitters, in my opinion, like the big three for imports. I'm sure there's other import companies that I'm not going to talk about, but just for the sake of time, I would say the big three from like the high end, import level collectibles is Mafex, Amazing Yamaguchi, and Storm Collectibles. The only reason why SHF isn't here, as most of their like really popular and very, very sought after figures are retailing at around 35 to 65, which I would put kind of in the middle range. Whereas most times, unless you're able to get these in, directly from Japan and you live in Japan, you'll probably get them for 60. But if you're importing them to the U.S., for the most part, you're paying about 100 plus for all of these figures, and that's really not unique to this. This is a bootleg, so don't mind that. But let's see, does Big Bad Toy Store have any listed on here? Uh, I guess they don't. Whatever. Anyway, these guys are typically. Oh, here we are. Typically, they're about, there you go, like about that much. They're about 100 plus as well, and same thing goes for Storm Collectible, right? These are old figures, so they're not $300, but you kind of get the point. And I would say that if you are a hardcore collector and you like toy photography, potentially are a content creator, or you really just want you buy one of these, you're not gonna need. I'm not saying you're not gonna want to or buy a different version of the character, but you don't need to. And I've discovered that very recently that when you put in the amount of money that they're asking, yes, it's a lot, right? 125. Personally, I don't think this figure is worth it for 125. But let's just say for you it is. This 2099 Spider-Man, I guarantee it, once you get this figure and you're posing it and you really enjoy the figure and you thoroughly go through the figure, you're not going to want to really buy any other 2099. Unless Mayfex or maybe Amazing Yamaguchi makes it 2099. Storm Collectibles doesn't do comic characters, so that's really the only way you'd want to. Or if they, you really want another 2099, like if SHF makes one and or Marvel Legends makes one and it really catches your eye, you can. But Mayfex, Amazing Yamaguchi, and Storm Collectibles, for their respective properties, I believe are like the finish line. You really can't, at least in a 112 scale, right? I forgot to say that as well. We're kind of going to stay in the 112 scale. For the most part, I don't think you can really get better unless you go into kind of something else we'll talk about here in a second. I don't think it's going to get better than that, personally. Just the range these guys can get, the accessories that they come with, the detail, the paint apps, the sculpt, everything about it is just, you're not going to get that. You know what I mean? Like, just for the hell of it, let me go ahead and look up Deathstroke since we have that one up there. Mayfex hasn't made one, by the way. Like, let's see, let's get like a good version of it, right? Look at and this is pretty close to about as good as of a pose as you're gonna get with these figures. There's very minimal amount you can do when in comparison to something like this. Just, I mean, it's night and day, right? Like, it really doesn't take any explaining to do. You're getting what you're paying for. If I were to have this Deathstroke, I probably wouldn't ever buy another Deathstroke unless they made like a different design for it, like maybe a classic design, and then they made that as well, or Mayfex makes a classic design Deathstroke, then I'll probably do it. But my point is, you're never really gonna have to go back down, right? Which, in my opinion, is good, because if Marvel Legends releases 4 figures, that's the equivalent of 1. You didn't buy any of those 4, so there you go. You saved yourself from buying 4 figures, maybe taking up more space. But that's neither here nor there. That's kind of besides the point. So, with that being said, covering all of those, the space that is like very uncharted territory for, I think, everyone is third party stuff, right? And just for the sake of keeping this video not too long, I'll mainly focus on Dragon Ball. And most of these figures, as you can see, you can buy like pretty much all of the ones on screen on AliExpress, or 5K Toys is my preferred method. I've been buying from them for a couple years now, so I trust them. You could also, go check them out. But for the most part, third party is kind of there for the stuff that is either going to take a really long time for companies to finally get around to, or is just flat out never gonna come, right? And kind of one of the scenarios I'll bring up is, I don't think I saved it on here, but let's see. Let's do a quick little search. Okay, so I pulled it up real quick. This is kind of really the only company that's doing it right now is Mess Toys, aka CT Toys. Is literally just making bootlegs of figures, but these are like completely unique, and we haven't gotten like a Bayflex version of Kane or Amazing Yamaguchi version of Black Suit Spider-Man. So this is extremely great. For me to be reviewing these guys. I'm probably just gonna end up getting both, as I think they both look freaking amazing. Um, but kind of going back to the Dragon Ball stuff, I would say, in my honest opinion, third parties are kind of like what's holding it down for the Dragon Ball community right now. Why do I say that? Is however you feel about Tamashii, they definitely have not been very receptive of, kind of feedback from the community, at least from what I've seen, right? Maybe you have a story where they directly, answered one of your prayers, but people have been asking for a future Gohan. They've been asking for a third party or a 3.0 Goku, 3.0 Vegeta, 3.0 of like pretty much the entire roster of SH Figuarts at this point. I mean, they're still using a 2.0 buck for new releases. That's from like, I think that 2.0 buck is from like 2016, 2017. Correct me if I'm wrong. But even then, let's say 2018. That's still like 7 years that they've had that same body in rotation. They haven't made a new one, right? And people are like, oh, well, we got that 3.0 Goku. I love that 3.0 Goku. That's probably, if not my favorite, at least top two SH Figuarts to date. I love that freaking figure. It's amazing. The full power battle damage Goku. I love that thing. But it's not enough. I want a 3.0 version of the main cast. Piccolo, Vegeta, regular Frieza, like a lot of the big name characters, Gohan. I know we have the adult Gohan from the superhero movie, but we don't have like a regular, Turtle Hermit Gi Gohan from the Buu Saga, or even a 3.0, or we do have a 3.0 Teen Gohan. Sorry about that. But we didn't get a Super Saiyan 2 head with that. There's a lot of stuff that just Tamashii is not doing that third party is, right? And one of the biggest examples of that, and hopefully fucking nothing weird pops up here, but is this Kong Studios, their final project before they disbanded. Unfortunately, they probably got like a cease and desist from Tamashii, but this freaking Kong Studios Broly, which I have a review on that on the channel if you care to check that out, is like ground shattering. I don't know how many people have been asking for a 3.0 Broly from Tamashii. Like, I genuinely, even today, if they did one today, I still think it would like break the internet because Broly is just that much of a big character. But they just refuse to. So what do? When Kong Studios came out with their 3.0, they reissued their 2.0 Broly, really 1.0, because there's not a second version of Broly. So that's kind of all I got to say on third parties. It's kind of a mixed bag. It's really hard to tell if something's actually going to come out even, and then it's kind of hard to tell if that figure is going to be good when it comes out, right? I know a lot of people had a lot of bad experiences with Thompson Art Toys Kid Buu, and that's kind of a shame because we don't even have a single Kid Buu figure from Tamashii, so that kind of sucks. But their Trunks figure is very good. I also have reviews for that on the channel. But anyway, kind of wrapping up the video. Let me know what you guys think. Did this video help you guys kind of determine what companies you want to collect? Did I introduce you guys to some new companies? The only thing I would say, really, if you want to take anything away from this video, is just kind of focus on what you want to do with these figures. If you're someone who's just a collector, you grab a figure here and there and you pose them, but you're not like hardcore into it, I believe McFarlane and Marvel Legends are probably your best option. Especially if you collect teams and stuff like that, there's no chance that like someone like Mayfix or Maisie Yamaguchi is going to be able to finish a team in a timely manner. Like I'm talking like within 5 years. It'll probably take them like 10 years to even finish the initial roster. And I'm talking about Mayfix to finish the initial roster from the Jim Lee X-Men. So, take that however you will. But if you're like someone who's serious about collecting, you like posing your figures a lot, you do toy photography, I definitely think that it's worth the wait and it's worth the investment. Waiting on Amazing Yamaguchi, Mayfix, SH Figure Arts, and Storm Collectibles to go ahead and make whatever character it is that you're kind of looking after, right? Nothing wrong with McFarlane or Marvel Legends for the time being, but I find myself every single time I buy a Marvel Legends or McFarlane, and then Mayfix makes that same character, I always try to get rid of the McFarlane or Marvel Legend to get that Mayfix. So, without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys, really liked the video. If you guys could do me a favor and drop a like, share, subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And I won't take any more of your guys' time. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good day. Peace.